Lights, camera, action. Good morning, Sofia. My name is Piotr Pietrzak, and this is a recording for Insights and the Think Tank. Today, we will briefly touch upon international relations theory. And I just want to tell you that if you were able to imagine the development of international relations theory as a 400 meters race, Immanuel Kant will be already crossing the finish line while E.H. Carr is still tightening his shoelaces at the starting blocks. Kant's ideas, moral autonomy, perpetual peace, and cosmopolitan order inspired the creation of League of Nations, United Nations, and even to some extent, European Union. His thought shaped the very foundation of international order, turning it into more equitable place. Meanwhile, can anyone remind me what E.H. Carr did for us? Well, it's tough, yeah, but let me just try. So his main idea suggests that those of us who believe in peaceful coexistence are delusional, naive, and unrealistic. He turned the idea of a liberal school of international relations into caricature of itself because he compared it to realism, which, according to him, is so great. But you see, his ideas were not so original. They were actually a copy of Machiavelli, Hobbes, or Hans Morgenthau, as a matter of fact. And those ideas are hardly inspiring. So also the reality of today is that despite some exceptions, the majority of the countries in the world cherish peace, prosperity, and trade in 2025, whilst the limited few wage wars at the expense of their own citizens. You remember Putin was about to win the war in Ukraine in 4 days? That was 4 years ago. And today, in 2025, his army suffered unprecedented losses, both material and human. And some of them wouldn't be recoverable, basically. So, meanwhile, Ukraine, the victim of his aggression, is now supported by democracies from all over the world, and Ukrainian army is still standing, and its army is turning into the force to be reckoned with. So comparing car to Kant is like comparing a Trabant to Mercedes. The Trabant served its purpose in its time, but it was made of cardboard, functional, not timeless. Kant, like Mercedes, was built to last. And Kant's perpetual peace was the true Big Bang of international relations, the quiet moral explosion that made later theories possible. And we shouldn't forget about that. This will be the very productive end of the year for us. And we've already started. Philosophers from all over the world, especially Kantian philosophers, we started to educating people on how to achieve peace and how to get rid of war. My humble contribution to this endeavor is my interview, which I gave to Steven Sadkiewicz from New Books Network. And I would like to thank him for giving me this wonderful opportunity to speak to his strong, loyal, and unique group of listeners. And I would like to encourage everyone in our network to listen to his podcast because they are fascinating. They're about conflict management, military history, war studies, international relations, and of course about geopolitics. The ideas shared in this podcast are very, very sharp. So each recording is just about 60 minutes long. And it deliberates on the recent publications, just like this one, which I did with Stephen, is about strengthening international relations through transformative theory and practice. So I strongly encourage you to listen to that recording, and I strongly encourage you to listen to every single recording because that will allow you to familiarize yourself with many voices dedicated to this noble pursuit. So thank you much for that. My name is Piotr Pietrzak, and I approve this message. Guys,